Thank you for having the opportunity to be here. And I love the venue and I love the big windows as well, as somebody was tweeting a couple of times there. So I arrived yesterday and I was just inspired about the setup here. Today I would like to speak about, tell a little bit of the story how I ended up actually into being in Vision Plus. But it starts with the number 21. And those who are into in the literature, in a certain type of the literature, know that this is half of the meaning of life, according to Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy. And the half of the meaning of life, it has been for me too, because it was 21 years ago when I was a student. I was, and then you wonder, was it the middle school or high school or where? But I was actually looking for a job after university, and I asked my friend Pekka, who was working in Nokia, to go around and ask from his boss and colleagues that whether there would be something to do. And he asked from his boss in a cafeteria, and then somebody walked by and asked from Pekka that is the Tero you are speaking about, is he a smart guy? And Pekka, of course, because he's my friend, said that yes, he is. And 2 days later, I was then actually hired to Nokia and started my career as a young engineer in the research. And since then, I have been actually being privileged to be part of the rides from Finland to the global sort of the industry which Nokia had. And those 21 years have been extremely rewarding. However, in the last year, we have been going, and there is no news to you, that Nokia has been really challenged in the marketplace. And we got the new CEO, Stephen Elop, last year, and he started to review the strategy together with us. And in February, we announced a new strategy, and which is, I believe, well known where we are heading as such. The main point to me was at that time that we realized that Nokia is going to through a major restructuring effort, which means that actually a lot of the people, actually 7,000 people that I knew, many of those would be impacted and wouldn't be actually having a job in the company. And I started to kind of think about that, hey, there must be a way to actually use this talent in a more innovative way, and went to speak to Stephen and said that, hey, I would like to explore some possibilities. And he said that, why don't you do that? And also your colleague, Esko Aho, who is ex-Prime Minister of Finland and now head of external affairs in Nokia, actually was just in my office speaking about the same thing. And we created a program that is called Bridge. Bridge is a transition program which is helping people to actually find a new job in another company, or go for a study in a university, and we are helping them financially and also through using other ways of not only capital but also connections. It's about connecting people. As part of that journey, I was kind of started to then dig into the innovation that, hey, what's happening in the venture capital world? What's happening in the products? And it kind of led me to realize that there's so much going on, even though venture capital is not a new thing to me, having been in charge of that in Nokia and founded one fund previously. However, I kind of realized that I would like to do something different. And that led me over the summer to then propose to Nokia that why don't you become an LP in a new investment vehicle that I then termed Vision Plus. And not to be the major investor, but be a minority partner, and we'll bring some innovation, but we'll go out there with entrepreneurs and help them to flourish. So that was the background. So 21, I hope the next 21 years will be equally rewarding, so then I will achieve the 42, which was the answer in the Hitchhiker's Guide to Galaxy. What's the meaning of life? And I'm sure that it will not end there, but we need to then define a new number. Next, I'm going to actually very briefly talk about the philosophy behind the investment model. So Vision Plus is not the VC in a traditional sense because we invest into products. And now you are, of course, asking that what does that mean in practice? And I'll come to that in a minute. In some ways, I start from the philosophy that the most important thing an entrepreneur need to focus is the product, not the structures. You don't need to actually establish a company to go and lease a car or do something equally fun. You actually need to focus on the product and get it into the marketplace. However, what beats me in the life is that there are so many great products that never see their first customer. They never actually find their way to the marketplace. And I'm thinking about that. Is there a way to actually help the products to connect to customer, whether that is a consumer or other a big corporation? It doesn't really matter. The next thing is that when I think about, okay, you have product, focus on products, try to find customers, because in the way, if you don't actually find customers who are willing to pay, there's no long-term value. And the customers who are willing to pay, they don't need to, of course, pay indirectly because there are many different business models. However, in the end, you need to actually get paying customers. And we used to have the saying, cash is king, and it's nice to have some in your pocket, especially in a foreign country. However, what I'm now saying is the cash flow, floating the cash from the market to your pocket and investing into new things, that's the new king. So I would like to bet, rather than what I'm doing on that I'm getting something from the market, than maybe on a hypothetical valuation or something, and invest into activities that actually help people who have great ideas, have developed a great product, to actually get some cash from the market into their pockets. Which is leading to the last point, that the creative talent deserves more. And I'll come later to the unleashing innovation, but in some ways the world is now in a spot that those people who have great ideas, who are actually creating things, deserve more from the value chain. And if we can do something to help them, and that's a great thing. So those were the philosophical principles that when we think about that investing into products are driving me. In some ways it's about how can we help the entrepreneur to actually succeed in the marketplace, commercialize their product, and in that process get to keep more of the value. Here is a chart that actually tells you how to do it. And basically, just wonder if this is working. It doesn't seem to be. But anyway, so here you have let's start with the development company. So coming from Finland, which unfortunately didn't feature on the ideal innovator list countries, but we do have some innovation in addition to Nokia, for example, Angry Birds. So Angry Birds was started from a company called Rovio, so they could be actually this company. If you haven't then an idea that we would like to do a product, that could be a product, can be a game, and this model is actually well known from the video game industry. So what you do actually is that you say that let's house this development project virtually from the rights point of view into a product company. It's a special purpose vehicle. And what happens then is that it's 100% owned by the development company. So everything that gets developed, the product rights, they will be owned by the development company. So the entrepreneur get to keep the rights. We provide financing against the development cost or commercialization cost. So you don't need to necessarily have actually an early stage project. You can have a project that is almost ready, it just needs the capital to go to market. And against that financing and also other expertise to help to bring the product into the marketplace, whether that is an app store, Facebook, Apple's app store, or then a big corporation, then what happens is that after it hits there and you start to get some money, that gets shared between the development company and Vision Plus. So we earn our return based on the real cash flow from the market. And this is kind of the key point. There's one addition that is not in the picture, but it's also interesting when it comes to the role of the public funding, that you could infuse here a public funding component, which is now not the funding to a corporation, but it's actually funding to a specific product that directly will reduce the amount of the capital the development company or the Vision Plus needs to put into the equation. And in that sense, however, it doesn't require the public funding return. For example, in Finland, we have a lot of structures that enable even foreign companies to tap into that one. And if you get better product with the less money, then the Vision Plus and development company will earn a higher return on an invested capital. So that's the basic structure. And as you say, when you think about it from the entrepreneur point of view, as you can see, it's very beneficial because actually it doesn't take a stand. If you have a shareholders here, we don't dilute your ownership in the company. You actually get money to commercialize a product, and after you have done it, you are also in a better position with your great product, rights for it, and cash flow from the market to acquire, to access also equity financing. So that's the basic model that we are driving. There's also sort of, when we think about, there has been a lot of, especially when we are in Europe, we are always thinking about sort of the other dimensions as well, and with all of the doom and gloom, Greece and a couple of other countries that are in trouble, and basically all Eurozone is in a difficult spot. It's not only about that you get a great commercial return, but we also look at other benefits that you get. But starting from the commercial returns, so if you kind of think about it, that there is no this kind of a traditional exit in this model, but there is a steady cash flow, which improves IRR if you can actually circulate the money fast, and it mitigates the need for this kind of big-time exits. Government, they get to actually social benefits because this helps them to transform companies from subcontracting companies with no rights, no own products, into customer-driven product companies. And then corporations, when you think about, if I coming from big corporation myself, they are always looking for new innovation and products. So in this case, you actually can access products, because very often companies, when they acquire something, big corporations, they don't want the sales guys, they don't want the BD guys, they just want the product. And in that way, this is a very beneficial structure for them as well. So what does Vision for us is then looking? I think the first focus, to put it simple, is I think the broader category is digital consumables, but it's application and games. And of course, that was I have 3 kids. And of course, the main news to them for my new move was that they now, instead of the phones, Daddy is going to bring some cool games into the home. So they are getting the benefit in that respect. However, I said that it's going to be driven. We have this in the upper part of the picture, these visions that we are driving. So I was listing that converging gaming, entertainment, and education. So they like the 2 first parts, but the latter part might be causing some trouble. So anyway, we are listing these visions sort of as a kind of identifying trends that are happening in the world. They are not necessarily the only areas we invest, and the 2 first ones, I don't need to go into details to explain that why they are hot. And the clean water and energy, that's more into the future thing. But actually, I was very inspired to be here in this facility because this is all about sustainability, and I think it's such a great thing. And with the sensor technology spreading all over, that you can start to measure energy and water, you can actually build consumer-driven applications that can be financed by Vision Plus and other partners. And this is not only for the digital domain, even though that's the first focus, but you can also think about consumer products that get focused through this model. But first phase, we are only focused on the digital side. So the last point I wanted to make in this short opening is about disruptions and how they unleash innovations. And now you are wondering that the Nokia, when I write the word global, that it's this damn Finn, he cannot even write, which I'm sure it's sometimes the case. But it's actually a global local. So when you think about back Nokia, why did they succeed? What happened was that they focused on the global industry with a very local approach. That's why we did so well in China, India, Africa, Russia, Brazil, in those emerging markets that everybody is now talking about, we went local early on. So that was the disruption, and also it continues to be the focus when we think of our applications. Nokia wants to be actually a very locally driven company. Then Apple, they disrupted the industry totally. And I call it the apps gadget, because the point is that the iPad, iPhone, etc., the value is not actually the gadget itself, even though I will all like the design, but it's actually the content inside. However, Apple is monetizing that through the gadget. They ask premium prices, and in this way get monetized, get sort of the value for their products. The content is actually there mainly currently to sell the actual physical product. Now we have Amazon, which I call Fire Service. So they just announced this new tablet, Amazon Fire, which is kind of, I think, is a very big disruption, because they priced that in the $199, which is what it is, 1/3 of the price for the iPad. And they are betting on that actually, even though they will be making some $40-50 of loss for each device sell, that their service, which is not only about application, but it books, it's all kind of sort of the things that they sell, will subsidize and actually bring the money back. And this is why a lot of corporations in the US are now, and also other parts of the world, will be going for Amazon, because they see that they can really offer the user base for premium content and services. And we'll see Christmas time that whether this is really happening, but I think it's going to be very fascinating to follow how Amazon took Android, fork it, and actually created their own experience, betting actually that their service will be better way to monetize this one than going with the Android ecosystem as such. So my question to this audience is actually that I would like to leave with you, is that what can we come up together to unleash innovation in the different domains? Because these are just examples, but I'm thinking about, for example, hardware, that there hasn't been kind of business models that have really unleashed the entrepreneurs to distribute their products in a new ways to the marketplace that would unleash the innovation. So I think there are great opportunities by thinking about the customer and the channel and the entrepreneurs and connecting them together with the disruptive products like these have been. So with that, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to be here, say a couple of words, and looking forward with many of you to work together in my new capacity. And once more, thank to Gigi and Jean Bernard actually having me here, and was such a great event. Thank you.